Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, Sukihana was all up in the media, and whenever I went to research what in the world was going on, I couldn't help but say, what in the lack of consent and over sexualized culture is going on in this world, in the industry today? Now, I didn't know much about Sukihana until this, debacle happened. I heard a little bit about her and that she is very overly sexualized, that her image is it's a bit much. Well, it's not a bit much, it's a lot much, actually. It's over the top. Like I said, very sexualized. If you've heard me talk about this kind of stuff in the past, I have mentioned before that I do not like seeing black women, especially black women, sexualized in the industry. She is the embodiment of what I hate having happen to black women and black women doing to themselves. Now, I'm not talking about how pretty she is or her body. Her body is just the way it's shaped. I'm talking about how she presents herself, this persona that she's created where she's always talking about sex. She's always talking about her nether regions, what she will and won't do in bed, whatever, like what she raps about, how she carries herself, how she is always just exuding this sexual energy. And people think that stuff is cute, but it's not, because the kind of attention that it attracts is dangerous. Speaking of which, she was on a podcast with Candy Burris, if I'm not mistaken, and a guy named DJ AONE. And this man was, I saw the clips, y'all. This man came on so strong. But again, we're going to tell the truth and we're going to shame the devil, because what we're not going to do is sit up here and act like this woman sexualizing and perverting herself is okay. Y'all can talk about sexual liberation and all that bull crap if you want to, but at the end of the day, it's bull crap, okay? At the end of the day, we need to carry ourselves in a professional and respectable manner if we want to be respected. That's the end of the story. Okay, but like I said, because of the way she carries herself, the stuff that she talks about, how she always has something disturbing and vulgar and sexual coming out of her mouth, these men think, oh, you must be about that life then. And that's how they usually respond. Men like him, that's how they respond to women like her. That's the end of the story. If you don't want that kind of attention, you need to do something to fix your image and how you put yourself out there. That's just the truth, and we're going to tell it like how it is, okay? Now, was it right for him to throw himself at her? Of course not. Although two things, like I've said before in a previous video, can be true at the same time. He was still very much blatantly wrong for how very strong, as she pointed out, he was coming on to her. And on the podcast, he couldn't even save it for off the podcast, behind the scenes, behind closed doors. He had to be that horny and disrespectful and out there publicly. That was just ridiculous. And the crazy part to me was, like I said, after she didn't say all this vulgar stuff, because a lot of these men, when you talk like that, they expect you to be about that life. If you're going to talk like that, they expect you to walk like it. After all that stuff that she didn't say, even before the interview, the way she carries herself, the way she didn't put herself out there and made herself look by sexualizing and perverting herself, she said, and this is directly from the interview, which was very vulgar, let me, put that out there again, that she thinks that 5 inches is big, that's big to her. And this is weird, like I said, for me even to talk about, because I don't even like talking about this kind of stuff. But coming from somebody who, like I said, who I've done research, a little bit of research on, who has talked like how she has talked and carried herself the way she has, that mind boggled me. I'm going to be honest. Coming from somebody like that, I honestly expected her to not even say something like that. Which again, is giving, you're talking about it, but you're not walking about it. Yeah, there's some stuff that she said that she done done, and I'll take a word for it because I don't need to know. Okay, I don't need to know what she does in the bedroom. I don't want to know. But like I said, it's still giving, this ain't really who she is. That she put herself out there for the attention, for the money, for the etc. But she does not completely want this kind of attention that comes with being this kind of individual. And I'm going to say this again, and I don't care who gets mad about it. If you're going to put yourself out there like that, I'm assuming you're going to be ready for the attention, for all of the passes, for everything that comes with that. There's territory that comes with you being this kind of person, like I said. And people don't want to admit, a lot of women don't want to admit, like I said, they want to push this idea, this fake idea of, oh, we should be able to do whatever we want to. Again, the sexual liberation, just doing whatever we want to sexually, but don't want to accept the repercussions that are going to always come with that. I'm gonna move on because I don't want to beat a dead horse again in this video. So a lot of people were comparing this situation to something that happened just recently, allegedly. Well, there is a young woman. They actually named this young woman Home Depot Hottie. This young woman who's minding her business, just living her life, working at Home Depot. She's a very pretty young lady, but has been sexualized. And like I said, some people were comparing this situation to her. But the difference between her and Sukihana is she didn't put herself out there. Okay, she's fully clothed in the videos, well, the pictures that I've seen so far. And unlike Sukihana, people are saying, oh, you're so pretty, you should start an OnlyFans. And she made it pretty blatantly clear that she did not want to start an OnlyFans because that is not the kind of woman she is or wants to be. That's not how she wants to carry herself. That's not how she wants to be perceived. Okay, you put out that energy, trust me, it's going to attract some raggedy individuals. Like I keep saying this, and people love to get offended because they just want you to tell them what they want to hear and make them feel good about what we blatantly know nobody should be feeling good about doing. I'm not going to congratulate you for walking around looking like a woman of the night and acting like a woman of the night and then being upset when you get woman of the night treatment. Like I said, clearly this young woman knows this and she did not want to be sexualized like that. But people all over Twitter and the internet are literally sexualizing this woman. Like I said, telling her to take her clothes off and act like these other women in the industry that she does not want to be lumped in with because she sees how they're treated as a result. And some of them don't even like it. Like I said, it ain't about that life. And she respects herself, unlike a lot of women. And as I've said before, I don't just talk about one side of the argument. I talk about both sides of the argument. It's pretty sad and absolutely pathetic that this woman can't post pictures, normal pictures to the internet like this one, without being sexualized by overly horny, overly sexualized, overly perverted carnal individuals. This is the kind of world we live in. So, if she can't post regular pictures without this kind of stuff happening, because some people were even going so far as to say that they were going to different Home Depots looking for this woman. That is disturbing. So like I said, she can't just live a regular life, just being here working, posting normal pictures. What kind of attention and reaction do you think you gonna get being overly sexualized, telling people, oh, you like to scratch and sniff your nether regions? Ridiculousness. Anyways, so the lack of consent and the carnality and the perversion did not end there. She was on a panel, podcast, whatever you want to call it, with some other men, and a young man by the name of YK Osiris took it upon himself to grab her and kiss her right on the mouth after she pretty clearly said no and was trying to get away from him. I mean, just basically grabbed her and just made her take the kiss, which is very disgusting, disturbing, disrespectful, and basically assault. It was all over the internet, and the other fellas, they just sat there and laughed. And like I said, it was wrong. The entire situation was very, very wrong, and people were calling him out about it, and at first, I guess, nobody really did anything about it. Now, allegedly, just recently, today, allegedly, he did apologize to her, and she accepted his apology, which I thought was very mature on both of their parts. Like, it's kind of time out for us doing stuff to people and not apologizing. And, like I said, they claimed that he apologized publicly and privately. So, like, if you do something, you disrespect somebody publicly, I think you should apologize publicly. And like I said, her accepting that apology, I felt was very mature of her to do. Although, like I said, we're going to keep it 100%. We're going to keep it a buck in this video. And if you don't like it, please go to another video. People were trying to push the whole, well, they didn't think she would have a problem with it because, again, this woman is always talking about sex. This is the kind of thing she puts out there. They didn't think it would be an issue. They thought that this is what she wanted. And again, yes, she did put herself out there. Yes, she put that energy out there. But she deserves that same respect and consent that the next person does. Like I said before, I'm very much in agreement that she needs to reform this image that she's put out there because, like I said, you keep putting this out. This is the kind of behavior you are attracting by default. Actions have repercussions. Although, we're not going to sit up here and justify what they did. Some people have been comparing that to whenever people say that prostitutes can't be assaulted because they're prostitutes, because they're sex workers. And that's not the narrative we're going to put out there. Okay, we're going to rebuke that. We're going to shoot it down because that basically encourages assault culture. I can't say the R word because y'all should know by now how YouTube is and that dang algorithm. But it basically encourages that whenever you try to push this narrative that, oh, she can't be, assaulted or disrespected because of what she's done. But anyways, she was speaking on, what happened after the apology, the alleged apology that he gave her. And there was something interesting that she said, how she was talking about how she's actually very sensitive. And I feel like she has a personality deep down inside that is not a part of, like I said, this sexualized, perverted image that she puts out there. This is what happens whenever you live in your sexuality. I don't know if I've said this on the channel, but you are not your sexuality. People need to detach their image from stuff like their blackness, even your blackness, your sexuality. You need to root your identity in Yeshua and who he says you are, because everything else is shaky foundation. Especially people need to stop, like I said, making their sexuality or the perversion that they're going along with who they are, because it's not who they are. And when all that wears off, when you're no longer horny or you don't feel like having sex, you still have a personality that you haven't dealt with, that you haven't allowed people to really get to know because you've been so busy trying to put this other persona out there. But like I said, she said some very interesting things, and I do feel, I am understanding. Some people might not think that I am, but I am understanding, and I'm capable of extending grace and mercy because people do go through things in their personal lives that we don't always know about. And, I do hope that God helps this young woman, and that she was saying that she was asking God to strengthen her, whatnot, and use her to order his steps, which is something she should have been doing long before now. But, it takes some action too, because faith without works is dead. So you can pray, but you also need to, like I said, reform your attitude and your persona and how you put yourself out there. I'm going to keep saying it, y'all, until somebody catches on. Now, what I thought was interesting, and I don't know why I thought it was interesting, was when Amber Rose took to the internet and actually took up for Sukihana and was saying, how much it disgusted her that this kind of stuff happened and people were not taking it seriously, concerning her. And she really did come to Sukihana's defense. I thought that was actually quite nice of her to do because, nobody has to take the time out of their day to stand up for you after something that happened to you that didn't even concern them. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who takes the time to do this, and because, somebody could have took shots at her too for even opening her mouth about the subject. But she put all that on the back burner to take up for Sukihana. So like I said, I thought that was very nice of her and empathetic of her to do. Now, one more point that I want to make before I wrap this video up. I'm very petty. I don't always let go of the past. I don't have amnesia, and I take it personally when people treat me like I should after they've done or said something that they shouldn't have. So we're going to bring up the past for just a moment because that's something that we've got to admit as women we're pretty good at. Now, back then, just a couple of months ago, Little Mama actually confronted Sukihana, and I know some of y'all remember. She tried to confront Sukihana about the stuff that she was putting out there, how she was presenting herself, just the vulgar things that she was doing and saying after a music video that she had participated in with, I forgot what that dude's name was, where she was on all fours like a dog, literally, while he was grabbing her hair, along with another young woman. Again, being the absolute embodiment of what I've been saying. I can't stand it when black women exploit themselves like this. But, Little Mama did basically the same thing that Amber Rose tried to do, or did rather, and was saying, you don't have to do this. And I don't think she was directing the specific comment that she did take down because of the backlash that she got, which she shouldn't have got. But she was basically saying, we don't have to do this. We don't have to portray ourselves this way. We don't have to set ourselves back like this. And that's very true. But Sukihana basically tried to clown her. I don't know if y'all really caught that. But she tried to clown that woman. She basically said, I don't know who you think you're talking about or who you think you're talking to. And she took the post down because she was saying, I wasn't trying to offend you or anybody else. I was just, generally saying, but y'all are setting us back. This is degrading to black women. You don't have to degrade yourself for money, for fame, for anything. Now, I get it. Sex sells. But you've got to have some kind of integrity and self-respect to the point where you will say no to doing that stuff because it's degrading. It's disrespectful. And again, because of the repercussions that come with doing that stuff. Again, she really tried to clown Lil Mama and even went so far as to say she thought Lil Mama thought she was better than them because of what she was saying. Lil Mama never said anything disrespectful to Sukihana. Everything she said was actually very empowering and very, uplifting, actually. And Sukihana is a mother, y'all. Remember that. So we want to talk about children growing up raggedy and having bad mindsets, being traumatized, not having respect for themselves, not having love for themselves. It starts with the parents. If she didn't want better for herself, she should have wanted better for her children, for her daughters, because they're going to look up to her and say, oh, this is what mama did. Maybe this is what we got to do too. And she should have fought harder than that. Like I said, if she couldn't have self-respect or integrity for herself, she should have had it for her daughters, because like I said, they are looking up to her. Again, this is why I say black women empowerment and protect black women. All of that is a joke, because protecting black women and women empowerment is you telling your black sister, hey, you don't have to take off your clothes. You don't have to go on OnlyFans. You don't have to degrade yourself. You don't have to let other people degrade you. You don't have to go around all the time talking about sex and your crotch and your nether regions. You can do better than this. You can have more integrity than this. You can have more respect than this. You can carry yourself in a better, more proper way. But no, people don't want to hear that because it bothers their pride, their ego, and their lust and their perversion. They get so bothered by you trying to tell them and empower them and encourage them, even respectfully, to do better, because they like doing worse. They like being raggedy. They like being perverted and sexualized until they run into somebody they can't handle, or until they run into a situation that they really did not want. And it's unfortunate and sad that it would take that to help them open their eyes. Anyways, like I said in that previous post, she was talking a lot about God and, wanting him to order her steps and whatever. And I believe that he can still do that for her. But again, it's going to have to be a lot of changing she would have to do. There's a part that I believe God will do if she lets him. But there's a lot of stuff that she has to do. Like I said, like put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. If that's what you want, then make the necessary changes to do it. Get some self-respect. Get some integrity. Change the way you think. Change the way you act. Your mindset. How you carry yourself, what you say, who you hang out with, what you do. I believe it's all possible, but people have to want to do better. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a blessed day filled with integrity and self-respect.